hand over to the team.
Okay,
Peter?
sure.
Oh, is Bruce online now? Oh, okay. Well, I might hand over to the team, and then can you just give us a brief intro, and then I'll hand over to Bruce, and then we can go back through it.
Okay, for sure. Look, just a quick intro. The main purpose of today, of course, is to discuss and adopt the draft annual plan. There'll also be discussion around the CD to make sure that it accurately reflects the annual plan and that it's in the style and content that councillors require. I understand from the chair there that there's going to be some discussion about exactly how we handle that through delegation or otherwise. We'll need to sort that out. Just quickly how we got here. Obviously, there was an election last year and the new council being elected in October. Really, the annual plan didn't commence until early November. There's a rapid-fire series of workshops, some of them in PX, some of them are open to the public. The upshot of that was a public meeting of finance and performance in mid-December, 17th, in which you gave us your guidance on what the annual plan should contain, and that's what the report and CD reflect today. Probably the big significant change, sorry, I'll go back for a moment. The purpose of the annual plan for I guess for maybe the newer councillors is to reflect changes to the LTP. Now this will be year 3, so this will be the last one. There are relatively few changes of significant ones, and of course we commence on the LTP basically as soon as this annual plan is out the door. So there is a choice to be made between variations that go in this annual plan and significant strategic issues for the city, which obviously go to the LTP. The changes in here include things like a reduction in the size of the capital program with an eye to both deliverability and affordability, but without affecting levels of service. That's been done. That provides a lot of confidence that next year we have a good show at actually delivering most, if not all, of the capital program. There are some changes around the Climate Resilient Fund. There are also some suggestions around potential proposals around things like iconic buildings. And there are a number of operational matters in there as well. On the housekeeping side, the report contains recommendations around some financial matters which don't directly affect services. And then, of course, there's the other matters that are going out for consultation in the CD. So look, I guess that's the quick history in 2 minutes of how we got here and why we're here. And I understand you probably want to throw to Bruce now.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Peter, for that. That's a really good way to set the scene. Bruce, welcome along. Good to see you online.
Great. Good to
can
be
you hear
here,
us?
Sam. And
Great.
Can you hear me guys okay?
Yep. Good as gold. So we'll hand over.
Thank you for the chance just to catch up. And look, again, thank you, Sam. And look, I just like greetings to particularly the new councillors. I don't think I've met everybody yet, but I serve the city as the independent chair of the Audit, Risk and Management Committee. And this is one of those times, particularly when the role of my committee intersects with your role. So it's worthwhile just giving you a short briefing on that, because it relates to, I think, item 3 of the recommendations, which is that you note the assurances in effect that we are providing your committee today from the work of the Risk Committee. The Risk Committee's focus is primarily around systems and processes that keep us safe. Traditionally, and it's always been a role of the Risk Committee, we look at the systems and processes that particularly Peter and his team, but the whole organisation have put into the preparation of this annual plan, as we do with the LTP, etc. So I just really want to give a wee bit of, I guess, personal visibility to that recommendation, that you note the confidence I would hope you can take out of the work of the committee as you face today's discussion around the draft CD. There are 2 things in our paper, which is attachment A, that are important assurances for you. One is, firstly, that we have always maintained and look at the assumptions that build this annual plan. An annual plan, even though it's only for the next 12 months, is naturally looking at what you anticipate the future will be and what it will look like and how you have to react. important part of that is actually, so what is the quality of the assumptions that you build this document on? And having looked at that, having discussed those with the relevant officers, the committee reached the conclusion that we were comfortable with the assumptions that had been built into this draft annual plan, and on which, amongst other things, for instance, the planned rate is set. The second thing that we have done, and again, it's almost mind-bogglingly large, is the system of quality control, which I think reflects well on management in the way they have approached the quality of the documents that you have in front of it. I say mine or eye-boggling is the extent of the sign-off provisions that this council goes through, and I recommend that actually all councils do that, because to me it's good practice. We have again looked at the nature of the sign-offs from all the various people involved, and are comfortable that those sign-offs have been carried out with due diligence and care. So that means for today, we believe as a committee you can have confidence to approach this annual plan, and particularly to be able to debate and deal with the policy issues. I want to reflect, my committee does not deal with the policy choices that you have in front of you today and are inherent in this annual plan. For instance, what you choose to consult on broadly is a policy choice. The policy choices behind the various aspects within the annual plan are yours alone to make, and not my committee's. I would reflect though on two key points that we debated in passing out a resolution that this committee could have confidence in what you have in front of you today. One is a substantial local government reform. And you folk have put in a very good submission, I think an influential submission to government, for instance, on rate capping. Rate capping doesn't impact on this annual plan. So the sorts of changes signalled, even the simplifying local government, don't affect this annual plan. So consequently, it doesn't address any of those issues directly. That's something that clearly council will have to deal much more significantly with as you put this one to bed and get into the LTP. The second thing that I would just draw reference to that we did devote a bit of time to is paragraph 5.10.2 on page 15 of at least the online agenda, which is that this has behind it a budget that is technically not balanced. The operational revenues are not greater than the operational expenditure. It's very clear why, which is that you are in a program to fully fund renewals. But I think that's by a later stage in about 2030, and until you do, you will be running an unbalanced budget. It is important that you are aware of that. It's a legislative compliance. You can and need to, in this case, agree that that is prudent, but that's also picked up in your recommendations, but I draw that to your attention. Again, I think I said in the middle of this that I considered, for instance, the quality and sign-off control and approach meets good practice. And I don't say that lightly, and I just would like to conclude, Sam, by saying the committee, my committee, is giving you, I hope, the assurance and the confidence to deal with the foundational documents today. As I've noted, I don't have the right to comment on the policy choices, but the committee is able to hand this over to you so that you, as I say, have the confidence to deal with it appropriately. I think that's all I need to say. But Sam, if there were any brief questions, I'd be happy to deal with those. Otherwise, I'll let you get on with today.
Great. Hey, thank you very much, Bruce, for that. And that's really comprehensive and paints a good overview. Does anyone have any questions for Bruce? No, you've done a great job. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, sorry, Bruce. I spoke too soon.
No, it's hard to see.
I should have known better. Yanni has a question.
Right. G'day, Yanni.
Yanni?
Yeah, good morning, Bruce. Thanks for the update and the report. I'm just wondering if audit has looked at the use of program level budgets rather than specific line item budgets. This has been a concern that has been raised repeatedly by both submitters and elected members, that it is increasingly difficult for the community to make submissions on program level budgets when they do not have visibility.
I bolded, I think you mean my committee. The answer is directly no, we haven't looked at that, Yanni.
Cool. Okay. Hey, thank you very much, Bruce. Much appreciated.
Okay, thanks
Brilliant.
a lot. Catch you guys later. Have a good day.
Okay, Peter, I'll hand back to you. Is there anything else do you want to run through your sort of stuff now?
Well, just, I guess,
And then we'll go to your questions.
briefly, look, the recommendations, section 6, are a series of, I guess, mechanical recommendations around the funding impact statement, rating policies, proposed capital program. There are some minor changes to levels of service, which are, again, not material. They're not part of an overall level of service review, which is obviously part of the LTP. Financial statements, summary of grants, and of course a list of properties for disposal. So that's I guess the internal mechanics. The things of much more interest to the community are set out in the consultation document, which is the last attachment, and that's changes to the Climate Resilience Fund, iconic buildings, and other community interest projects. I assume they'll be taken as part of the discussion around the CD, so I won't line by line them right now. But that's the two components. There's the internal mechanisms, and then there's the external items for consultation. There are relatively few of them. This is certainly not in the same scope as an LTP. And that's the two recommendations you have before you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Peter. So I guess now we're at the point where we've got everything there. It's just if there are any questions for staff on the draft annual plan, and if not, we'll then go to the recommendations. Yep, so I've got Victoria, Melanie, Yanni, and Tyrone. Yep.
Oh, thank you, Sam. Is now the time to bring up a question in relation to page 23? Is that okay? So I'm looking at the financial overview, thank you, Peter, and operating expenditure, where it references that there's been significant changes to what was provided in the LTP for 26-27. And the second bullet point there, you've got the comments about an increase in staff salaries and wages costs of 18.2 million, and then sort of lumped all together the reasons for that. Are you able to provide a breakdown of that 18.2, please?
I think we got Mitchell here.
Hi, Mitchell, thank you.
Thank you. So there's a number of causes for that increase. So it's across 2 years worth of changes. So it's the change since the LTP. The primary increases are the increase in inflation assumptions from our corporate increase versus what we had built in when the LTP was set. So that's around 9 million of the increase. We've had additional pay equity claims that have been resolved, so that's around 3.5 million. There's been in-housing of external staff and resource, which has added around $2 million. That's offset by decreases in other budgets. And there's been increases in staff of around circa $2 million in the revenue generating units, so those staff are bringing in additional revenue to council to offset their costs.
And the living wage adjustments, where do they fit in within that category, please?
They're within the inflation number.
And so that inflation is quite a large sum at 9 million.
Yes.
Does that break down at all?
I don't have that breakdown available here.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Councillor Henstock, about 3%. So if you take our REM at around just sort of 280 odd million at present, you add 3%, sort of circa is the number we would work on to give an indication of, well, 3 to 3.5 gets you your 9 million in rough order.
And can I just clarify, some of that was in relation to a back pay as well as not just current?
Well, through you, and I'll like Mitchell to confirm, but yes, there is a period where you make the adjustment and then we build it into the budget and it has a full year impact and so on. So that is the full year impact coming through.
Thank you, Pete.
Do you want not for now, but do you want them to take it on notice and bring back a breakdown for you?
That would be
Is
helpful,
that what
thanks.
yeah. Is that, Mitchell, is that something you can do just so we've got the really clear on the inflation, the living wage, and the pay equity, all that
Yes,
stuff?
yeah, we can do that full breakdown for you.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you. Okay, Melanie.
So I was just looking back through the last public annual plan presentation. One there, I have forgotten what we came to, but I had in there about an older person's advocate, and it talked about existing resources being reprioritised, but I can't remember what the result was. So can you give me a reminder of that, please?
I can't off the top of my head. I can certainly come back to you on it, but I don't have it at my fingertips.
Okay. And then in the questions for the consultation document, quite a while back, last year around community grants, we had different proposals put forward, I guess, to increase the fund and to decrease the fund, and I thought we'd got to a stage where we were leaving the fund alone, and it wasn't mentioned in the last annual plan workshop in public. So it's just wondering how we've got to the stage of just offering a decrease for people to choose from as opposed to a potential increase.
I can only answer that in general terms, and that is that I think it was part of a response to a question around a wide sweep of how can we make the rates increase more affordable. It's just one option as part of that suite of responses. I don't think it was a specifically targeted item. I think it was simply staff responding with, if we looked at ways of reducing the rates, this would be one of them, and it's now a matter for discussion.
So is it an option in the consultation document to ask people would they like to leave it the same, increase it or decrease it?
Potentially, yes. That's part of the discussion for today.
Right, thank you.
Cool. Thank you. And thank you for all the work that you've done to get us to this point. I really appreciated getting back the advice around the ticket levy at the new stadium, although I was incredibly disappointed that it's not being applied to sporting tickets, expo or community ticket events, and that our suggestion for a percentage wasn't in place. So the question I had...
Yanni, stop. So we'll get to debate later, but if you've got a question...
Yeah. So the question I had, given that the operator has chosen not to introduce the ticket levy on a number of events and agreed and not introduce the percentage, in terms of us as a council, what charge can we set to ensure that we do get a ticket levy percentage put in place to get some income to offset the massive cost and rates that's coming from the new stadium? Is that a fees and charges amendment? What is the best way for us to do that?
I think we've got an answer down here.
Thank you, Councillor. We're in the process right now of developing the operating agreement. Part of that agreement is the VO will need to pay us an operating licence fee, but they have exclusive rights to the revenue. So any revenue that council gets will be by means of that annual fee. So whether they bring in levies or introduce levies into their ticketing regime in the future is really a matter for VO.
So the single biggest thing that's creating a cost to us is we're not getting any additional offset to deal with the rates impact.
Sorry, what's your question?
So in terms of the operating agreement, will that come to council for sign-off?
Yes, it will. Yep.
And what's the date for it coming?
It's being drafted right now, and ideally we'll have it in place before the venue opens.
Okay.
Cool. Tyrone.
Kia ora. So is there any scope within the consultation document to raise things that we'd encourage the public to submit on to give a heads up to staff to start thinking about for the LTP?
Yeah, look, there's a number of items there already, and I expect there may be a few more today. It'll come up when we discuss the CD, but very broadly, CDs contain typically very sort of black and white questions, more of this, less of that. They don't really do nuance very well. They don't do complexity very well. We are going to put other options in front of you around independent surveys that get a guaranteed representative sample across the city, across demographics, that give you some certainty and credibility around the result being a fair and balanced one, and also get to the right numbers of people. So it'll be a choice for you, but yes, you can ask questions in the CD. It is a relatively blunt instrument for any kind of nuanced question, and we are going to offer you options around how you could do more complex, better data and have better quantitative and qualitative information on your option that you want to pursue. So yes, there's a couple of different ways of skinning that cat.
And I've got Mary.
And could I just clarify to add to what Peter said? The legislation is very clear about the purpose of the consultation document, and just to read from that, and I have spoken to legal about this as well, the purpose is around activities to be undertaken by the local authority in the coming year. It is not a tool, a survey tool for what you're going to do in the future in an LTP. You're best, as Peter's touched on, to do that via a survey or research method outside the annual plan. The legislation's quite clear. Annual plan is about the activities in the coming year.
But that, if I can just respond to that. Yeah,
well, we're not debating, so it's your questions. That's all good. But if not, we'll come to debate.
That
later.
is a question.
Yeah.
So that activity might be to encourage staff to look at something, though, right? Like that's within the realms of the
Yes, although the legislation, and it's just so everybody's clear, it's 95A. It does say. And the effects of those activities on cost and funding, so that we do need to have sufficient information here of the cost and funding of doing that work to be able to present it well enough in the consultation document.
Okay, thank you, Mary. I'll leave that there. Can I just have a quick follow-up question, Sam? Not follow-up, but new question.
Yep.
This is actually quite bespoke, so I don't expect you guys to answer it, but I'm just going to put it out. I just note a reduction in capital program on the harbour route around Middleton Harbour by about $400,000 just between the current budget and the draft. So I wouldn't mind just getting some feedback on why that drop's occurred, if possible.
Okay, I see that Paul has noted the question, so we'll give him a chance to work on it a little bit, I think.
Thank you.
Just to finish up on the CD survey question, to add to what Mary said, there's also flexibility. The legislation around the CD is very clear, and you can understand why, that we must talk about the costs and implications of whatever it is you're consulting on, whereas in a survey you can be more general and flexible and explore theoretical scenarios, whereas in a CD it actually has to be quite cut and dried.
Right, okay. So there are options.
There are options, yes.
All right, thank you.
Cool. You're good, Tyrone? Cool. I'll go back to Victoria, then I've got Tyler, Pauline and Tim.
Mine's okay. Thank you, Sam.
Okay, cool. Tyler?
Is this the opportunity to ask staff questions around other things?
What is it?
Traffic optimisation.
Say that again?
The traffic optimisation.
Oh, that memo that came through?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, ask it. Yep.
So the question I've got is, I'm actually okay with it going into the Life and Christchurch survey. That's cool. The question I've got is around the scope in which the consultation is going to be at, because you were focusing on the CBD predominantly within that briefing itself. However, I don't know about Sam and myself, it's more around the suburban routes, like the Straven roads, the Fendleton roads, the Memorial Labs, Riccarton roads, etc. Would there be opportunity to be able to put that into the Life and Christchurch survey? And do we need to put anything in writing for the consultation document?
The short answer is that we can basically put anything into that survey. At the moment, from a transport point of view, we ask a question that is like a follow-up to the residents' survey question around road condition. Tell us where you're dissatisfied with the condition of the roads, and that is a very open question. People can tell us whatever they want, so I don't see that we would limit that in Life in Christchurch at all. We would open it right up, and then we'd sort it when it came in at the other end and provide the information to these guys.
So within that questionnaire, because I remember the road condition ones, it can be associated to traffic, correct? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Through the chair, in addition to that, we can put in some prompts around right turning and pedestrian protection, because they were two key areas that we have been putting some focus on, and there's been a fair bit of noise around. So they're two areas that we'd look at particularly, and those two areas would impact your suburban connector routes predominantly more than the CBD as well.
Cool. Sweet. Thanks, Stephen.
Cool. You good, Tyler?
The next one's about graffiti.
Yep.
That's right. So I saw the memo, and I really appreciate the memo. After, I guess, my last term, I have understood that whenever there is something to say that it's going to be coming into the next year, then it then gets pushed into the year after that or the long-term plan. I'm wondering at what tools we could utilise right now to be able to get the ground running, to get the ball rolling, come the long-term plan, to be able to initiate a graffiti program as soon as the LTP signed off.
Who would be the best person to answer that?
It's a process thing, really.
Might be. Oh, here we go. Andrew Rutledge.
Thank you, Councillor. There is already...
Okay.
Look, I think the question was answered not necessarily on the mic, but look, this is just an adjustment to a level of service. It's actually probably something you don't have to wait for a signed off LTP to look at. It's not either a material level of service or in a material activity. So it's something that the committee, for example, could adjust on the fly at any time.
Yeah, just to be clear, and I think the memo states this. It's because the request is advice in time for the final annual plan to adjust the levels of service. So I think that is, as Peter's just reiterated, and I mumbled to him, I shouldn't be clear, but I didn't have a mic close to me at the time, is that if we can get advice back to you in time for the final annual plan, you could adopt it and put it in as long as it's not a significant financial impact. It's because it's just an adjustment to level of service. It's not a new service. It's not a major investment. It's not a new level of service.
I see. Okay, cool.
Cool. Great. Pauline, and then Tim, and then Yanni.
So all the suggested savings through the consultation document that we're consulting on when we've signed off the draft, they're not baked in already, are they? They're not baked, so maybe that should be pointed out. Do you want general questions on the CD now?
I think we'll come to the CD because I suspect others will have, yeah.
Okay, so I think that's all I've got for... Oh, well, maybe I should ask this one about the surface, the three waters, if that's all right. So
yep.
I'll just find the badge. So when we're looking at all the, obviously the eyes are all on council's water infrastructure, particularly around the country at the moment for obvious reasons. Is it a good idea for us to be moving out budgets and pushing water renewals out that we're going to do, which is on page 10, I think, reprioritising work, moving out 9 million for wastewater renewals. I'm a bit concerned about that and the effect it's going to have on our infrastructure. Can anyone guide us on that?
Is Gavin here? Gavin's here. I imagine Gavin, not that I'm going to answer for you, but this will be part of what council asked around the whole deliverability of capital program.
Correct. That's not unpacking now.
Oh, have you got a mic there?
So no projects are being delayed. We're just rephasing some budgets across the whole program, so that the forecasted spend is what we are allowing budget for. So no projects are being delayed or held up due to the change in the plan.
And if you got ahead of, if for some reason you had an absolute blinder and it worked really well, you'd come to us and say, hey, I want to bring forward budget.
Yeah, it's our intention to hopefully do that next year.
Yeah, good.
So some sort of assurance of the public on that would be quite welcome in the document. And just another question on the cycleways, pushing them out as well. Is that to do, all of those cycleways mentioned in there, Northern Line, Norwest Arc, South Express, Heathcote Express, are they all to do with Kiwi Rail challenges? Or is there another reason to push them out? Sorry, that is page 11 on the CD. Adjust budget timing for a number of major cycleway projects to reflect when the project will be delivered and payments made. So is it NZTA or is it Kiwi Rail that are the reason for this? Or is it deliverability again?
Sorry, everybody, Stephen and I are playing a bit of tag team today. It won't be NZTA, it will be, yeah, it'll be Kiwi Rail. All of them have got Kiwi Rail implications. Okay, well, perhaps it's my recollection.
Well, it'd be good to get a really definite answer on that because I don't support, deferring MCRs. I think we've got to get that project done.
We're not deferring them, we're realigning when the money's going to be spent. So that's just what we do each time we do an annual plan. We look at how the projects are progressing, when we think we're going to spend the money, and we realign them, the budgets to suit the expected expenditure.
But it affects the timing of deliverability. That's what you're talking about.
Well,
realigning it to when the budget's ready.
Well, when we're going to spend the money, so it aligns with deliverability. It doesn't affect deliverability. So the budget there might be $100 of budget this year, but we're only going to spend 50, so we're pushing 50 out to next year because we know we're going to spend it next year. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to? Yeah, it does.
True, yeah, so we're not changing what the profile is for deliverability, we're changing when the money to suit. So rather, if you look at it like that, we're putting the money when we think we'll deliver, and that's what the change reflects. And if I've understood correctly, those are projects that have Kiwi Rail elements to them, and they may take longer.
Okay, well that's a comfort. Okay, and the other one I do have is around the iconic buildings, which I've previously supported putting them into one basket and trying to get some government co-funding on those, but I'm just wondering, because of the timing of this, it's going to really heavily impact the museum project, because we're actually looking at this one to make a decision for the LTP. So getting feedback now, going to the government if people support it, and then putting it into the LTP. So what impact is this going to have on the museum if we can't put any funding in for this annual plan, which is, I think, what they were really wanting. I mean, they wanted an answer before Christmas so that it didn't interrupt their pipeline of work. They didn't get that. Now their pipeline's interrupted, and I believe there's cost impacts there. So do we want to discuss whether we pull the museum out and put that as a separate consultation for the annual plan, while leaving it in there as a bid to government as well? I don't know, Mary might answer that.
But my understanding is they haven't approached government yet.
Yeah, look, all of their financial forecasts for their contracts are aligned with council's current thinking, and as it's suggesting that we send money, if we are to spend money on those projects, it would start in the long-term plan. So we're working very closely with the entities to make sure that the financial forecasts are aligned.
So they're
when the cash flow is required.
So they're fully comfortable with this approach as well?
It causes a small delay to their program, but they've got all the funding they need for their current contract, and then there's potentially a small delay between this contract and the next contract, which is the fit out for the museum. So there is a small cost to that.
Yes, a delay. But the fit out was always going to be the very last tranche of fundraising for the museum anyway.
There's fundraising, but they're still requesting contributions from both the Crown and Council.
Okay, so you're telling me that they're comfortable with this approach?
The information that's in there is that we have aligned cash flow forecasting. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Yep.
I've got Tim, Yanni, Nathaniel, then Jake.
Yeah, so you mentioned about the consultation document that we're going to talk about that later. My question's about that, but we've been asking, there've been a few on it, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, if it's about the issue as opposed to the document.
It's just about some of the wording and just under climate resilience fund.
That's probably the document itself.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I'll make you first when we get to the.
Thank you.
Yep. Cool. Thanks, man. No. It's. I've got Yanni. Actually, Yanni, I'll come back to you. I'll go to Nathaniel, then Jake, and then we'll end with Yanni.
Just taking on to what Pauline was asking about, as far as the legal justification goes with the heritage building. So, because the heritage building is about something that's not in the annual plan, right? That we're asking, should we put it in the long-term plan? So, how do we justify that in line with the LGA requirement that we're consulting about something that's in the annual plan?
I'll need to check what's in the consultation document, but again, this is an activity that we have funding for, that we currently do. It's very clear we support, so it's an activity that we would be intending to do during the year. So I'll need to look at the wording carefully in the consultation document and review that to make sure, and I'll work with legal.
It's quite a significant amount.
What we'll do is we'll take that one and come back after the break.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Following on, I think you have me next.
Yeah,
Following
Jake.
on from Pauline's question, that small delay that you speak of, are you able to quantify how much in dollar terms that is, and has that been factored into?
So let's take. Can we take both? Why don't we take both of those questions and come back after the break so we're dead certain before we move further? I've got Yanni and then Melanie.
I was just coming back to the sort of program level budgets. For example, if you look on page 80, we've got the sports field network plan and goals, and then we've got budget allocated, but we don't have any visibility of which parks when. So the issue that I'm trying to understand how to address is I've got Wainoni and Linwood parks that the community are asking for lighting upgrades, but I don't understand how we access the sports network field funding to actually get it done. And I don't know what to say to those groups in terms of making submissions, because they can't see what else is on the list. Is there a way that we could consult or get a little bit more visibility so that the local clubs can make submissions and be informed of what the plans are? And I know that we've talked to the RSOs.
Okay, So question asked. Rupert, is there anything you can add?
Yeah, the best way to do that is for the clubs to talk to their RSOs, and they feed that information into us. And we have put together a 3-year program of what's going to be delivered in the next 3 years. So we've got that, working with the RSOs at the moment. So as we've presented that information to you in the past, outlining the next key projects.
Okay, but are our staff telling these clubs that? Because we just had them coming to community board repeatedly for park upgrades, and we also had the club come in here to council in Hallsville, I think it was.
That's something that we can work on with our communication, making sure that they know the right channels to go through, so happy to follow that up.
Right, so if we wanted to get budget allocated for specific sports field lighting, what is the best way that we prioritise that? Is it through the sports network plan, or is it in the RSOs, or is it through the draft annual plan?
It's probably through the sports network plan. Yep, so back through the RSOs, and we can consider where it sits on the priority list.
So, okay, so the final question from me then is, will there be a decision-making report that we approve at a governance level around what those priorities are?
I don't believe so. I think we would just bring a memo to inform you of what the projects that we've agreed to do with the RSOs as via the sports network plan.
So just so I've got it clear in my mind, Rupert, so what you're saying is we effectively have a 3-year program that's been agreed with external groups, effectively the groups that lead the sporting networks within their codes, and we work through it like that.
That's correct.
So if they want changes, they would feed it through the RSOs.
Correct.
And then they work from there. Okay, seems, yep.
Can I just ask then, given that some of those priorities have been set, why are they not referenced within those program level budgets? And if you look on the page, you see places like Hallsville have got a line item. You've got Higley Park with a line item.
because they've just been drawn down into that specific project once they've been agreed, once it's time to draw it out of the program level into those specific projects that are being delivered at the moment.
Right. So none of the money in the sports network field plan that we've got on our draft budget has been allocated to a specific project yet. In those ones, in terms of
Yes, it has with Hallswell and Old Boys. Hagley, but we don't want to draw the money down until we've scoped the project appropriately and draw the right amount of money down to that project.
Sorry, just to be clear, there's multiple sports field network plan line items at a program level. Then there's also a specific line item for Hallswell. That's not counting twice. Like that's not the same money.
No, that's drawn out of specific goals out of the sports field plan into that project.
So just the line items relating to the goals. I'm just trying to understand if that money has been allocated or not.
Sorry, I'm a little unsure about that. So once the project's been allocated, it gets drawn down to the specific project.
Okay.
Yeah. So effectively, we have a budget. We agree it with the external bodies. Then once it's drawn down, it goes in as a line item.
Yeah. Correct.
Cool. So clear as mud. Hasn't changed for 20 years. Let's keep moving.
Look, except we get
Melanie?
submissions and then we can't access the funding.
Yeah, because we've been told they submit through the RSOs, and the RSOs determine what are the priorities for their code. Unless I've got that wrong, but I don't. Yeah. Okay, Melanie, and it can't be on RSOs, please.
No, so on page 10 of the consultation document, but I'm asking questions about the content. So it talks about under community facilities moving out budgets for curbside monitoring, 2.2 million. What exactly is that? What's curbside monitoring? Is that the...
Sorry, the boomerang. That's the resource recovery monitoring of the curbside bins.
Oh, like gold stars?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. Right, and then the next question I've got is under the three waters on the same page. So we're moving out 9 million for wastewater to coordinate area in the northeast, which that's okay, I suppose. We're moving out 12.9 million for water supply pumps for when they will be delivered, which makes sense. But then we're adding additional budget for reactive wastewater and water supply renewals, which on the one hand is good because we want to react to those things. On the other hand, that is concerning because where's the plan to be reducing this reactive stuff so that I know there's a ton of it and there's a million old pipes and a lot of it's in my area, but where's the plan to have less reactive and more planned?
More investment.
Yeah, we need to be investing where we know the stuff is instead of, we're constantly reacting. I know it's a huge issue and it's actually going to get a lot worse.
All right, so you've asked a question, so let's ask Gavin.
So we are spending approximately 40 million a year in wastewater renewals. So that budget that you see there was we've always, the reactive's always been there. We just created a separate line item. So we have, instead of pulling down from the planned renewal budget, we have a standalone budget for reactive works that's standalone.
How much did we spend on reactive last calendar year?
Well, that budget you see there would be approximately what we spend per year. So we're just reflecting what we anticipate to spend next year. But the renewal program is aimed to reduce the reactive works that we have.
Yeah, well, I guess I would rather see as more go into the planned stuff so that we end up with less reactive, right? I know it's a long... Yeah. What's the plan over the next few years, I guess?
Well, the next LTP will revisit our forecast for renewals to continue to reduce those reactive, what we spend on reactive each year. So we may come back and ask for more renewals, or we may not, but we'll go through that in the LTP.
Okay.
Yep.
And then Tyrone.
Just a clarification for Mary. You said the annual plan, but did you mean the long-term plan in terms of the graffiti program?
No, the memo requested information for the in time for the annual plan.
Yep. So It's saying that
and if it's too significant a change, it couldn't be done at the annual plan. It would need to be referred into the LTP. But what it appears you're suggesting at the moment is only a minor change to the level of service and not a significant financial commitment.
so that means I could put something into this one. Is that what you're? Is that what?
No, you probably don't even need to consult on it. You have a resolution there,
Yeah.
and you can make amendments at the final annual plan, as you do year on year, on matters that you haven't necessarily heard from.
I'm really interested. That's not any material impact in terms of more money going towards potentially more money going towards the graffiti program.
So just remember that we are dealing with a $1.6 billion budget in council. So a small variation in budget to graffiti would not be deemed to be significant since it's an activity you do, and you have feedback on it. You know, it's just an adjustment. It depends, as I said, it depends on the scope of that change.
Of course. Okay. And the Riccarton wastewater interceptors for Brent. Is that right that we've saved $2 million from that?
I think it's more on the line of it's approximately about $4 million in a budget.
That was saved.
Yes.
Okay. And where does that money go?
Potentially back to program.
Okay.
Maybe to be allocated to other projects.
Okay. And it doesn't go within the same ward. Just being clear.
Not necessarily. It's where the need is.
Whatever's ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Thanks.
Just so you're aware, Tyler, we had a discussion at Audit. Thanks, Kevin. That's good as gold. We had a discussion at Audit and Risk last week. I think it was around when you do get savings within those projects, the mechanism by which council can make decisions on where that's spent, because we don't want to slow things down because we want to keep the deliverability up, but there might be choices council want to make as well. So the team are coming back with some info. Yep. Yeah, Audit and Risk. Yeah. Okay, Tyrone, Celeste, then Pauline.
Sorry, this is just really technical, kind of in the weeds stuff, just about the phases that projects are at in the capital program. For the sort of the $8 or $9 million worth of projects for next year that are at the closed phase, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that they've finished, or we're still working on it? I mean, I'm just unclear as to what that would be.
Help Paul, or have a mic.
Projects in the closed phase generally have reached practical completion, but they haven't finished the final parts of the project.
Right.
So it's just completing.
So they're still live. No, that's cool. It's only a little bit. Just to add, but and conversely, like the stuff at the concept phase, are we confident that I mean, knowing good things take time at council is a polite way of putting it, I guess. But can things go from concept phase to completion within a financial year?
Yeah, a smaller project can, yes.
Yeah.
But it also gives us the pipeline for the following year, so that we're looking to get some of the concept stuff into design and maybe procurement, depending on the nature of the project, so that it's ready for delivery in the following year.
All right.
So it's developing that pipeline of work.
No, that's good. All right, thank you. Cheers.
Cool. Celeste, and then Pauline, and then we'll move on.
This might be a Nigel question. I'm just looking at the consultation document, page 10. It talks about rephasing the work to align with deliverability for the QE2.
Do you reckon you could? Sorry,
I'm a bit far away.
Is it all right? Yep.
Yeah, just looking at the changes to the budget for QE2 specifically. There was $5 million there. I just wondered if you knew any detail around that. It's around the community facilities, page 10 of the consultation document. I can come back if you need a bit of time. Thanks.
Cool. Why don't we'll come back after the break with those other questions as well, or whenever we get the information. Okay, Pauline, and then we'll.
Sorry, mine's just on the moving out 10.7 for the surface flooding reduction program. So that's pretty much half of the budget allocation that we put in for the 10-year plan, the long-term plan. So what is the reason for that? What is the hold up with this piece of work And I have to ask these questions because we've got communities really waiting for solutions here, and it is taking a long time. And secondly, what does moving out mean in all of these? Do we need to put what year we're moving them into? Do people have some oversight on what's actually happening?
So I think Brent's got the answer here.
Good, Brent. Where are you?
Yep. Yeah, Councillor. So it is around, you may remember when the team came in, they presented the quick wins and the ones we could do straight away that didn't need much design and investigation. When we get the next tranche through that we're working on, it's moving the money. You're not losing money, but moving the money to align with when we think those projects will be ready to go. So you're
I
not going to
understand that, but do we need a guidance of when that's going to be? Like that could mean moving it out into a future LTP. Who knows?
It could be. How long's a piece of string? Some of these ones take a lot of investigation work in terms of catchment modelling. Some don't. So. I can try and find some more information on that for you. And
if we're saying we're moving money out, not just in this budget but others,
yep.
Where are we putting it?
But it's just being rephased. I mean, correspondingly, this year that money wasn't going to kick in till originally I think 2027. We've actually brought a whole lot of money forward in that program so we could do design work. So it's whatever's ready at the time. Okay, so we're keeping the same amount of money, but trying to, and we fully understand what you're saying about the communities are waiting for the stuff, but some of those catchments are complex. Some of the catchment works, for example, St Albans Creek, hopefully we can even look at how we can do a larger scheme that, do one scheme that'll benefit 3 or 4 areas. So that's why some of the things have to be moved around.
So, look, thank you. That's a really good answer, and all these questions have been really helpful because we are going to have to explain the rationale of all of these to our people, so it's really helpful. Thank you.
All right, so we've now... Has anyone got... Yanni? I don't even have to say questions.
Yeah, we had a workshop, and sorry, I just can't recall the date, and there was discussion around looking at consulting on a rate for derelict buildings and structures. So a number of us have these abandoned... or derelict, eyesores in the communities, in the residential areas. I was just wondering, is there anything that we can do as part of this draft annual plan to consult on that, or is that being put into a separate process? I recall last time with Central City, we did consult on the vacant. Right.
That one. Yes, that wasn't long ago. We did consult on the city vacant one, and the reason we consulted on that, which was quite narrow at the time, not derelict, was because it was legally more straightforward to define what we meant. We do have an action coming from that workshop last month, I think, to look into ways we could potentially do something similar or include derelict buildings. I think my response at the time was, personal view, I think that's legally difficult, but it's an action point. We have to look into it and see what we can do. But there's nothing we can consult on for this. And I suspect I might get guidance from some other one legal in the room. I suspect it wouldn't be material enough to require separate consultation depending on how we define it. If we just build it into the city vacant, it might not be sufficiently material to require consultation. If it's something different, then it will. So it's still an action, unfortunately, but not for this plan.
But we have put in place higher rates for New Brighton and other areas just on vacant land?
All vacant, yes.
But it's not the old, dirty 30 that we had in the Central City?
Yes, the old blight properties, the derelict ones that nothing's happened to them, they've always been difficult for us, and we haven't been able to include those to date in the city vacant rate.
I think Bede might have something here too.
Through you, Mr Chair. Councillor Hens, I don't think that's something we can put into the annual plan at the moment. As Steve Ballard's pointed out, there's still some more work to do, and we wouldn't have the information available in order to for you to make a decision under the requirements of the LGA. So it would have to be deferred at this point.
Cool. I've got Celeste, then Aaron, and then Mark. Did you have a question? You didn't? On that Ames Road? Or have you asked someone? I just saw your It's probably good too, because so just so everyone's clear, what I kind of want to do is get all the questions that aren't related to the consultation document on the table. after that, we're going to move 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are just noting provisions. We'll then suspend standing orders. We'll get everyone to flag their amendments. Then we're going to have a break. Then we're going to come back, answer the questions that haven't been answered, then go through the amendments, and then go through the consultation document, because we want people to spend a bit of time on the consultation document. So that's kind of the plan. So I've got Celeste, then Aaron, and then Mark, and then let's see if we can get to moving these resolutions.
This might be a Brent question. I'm not sure, or Stephen, but in regards to transferring budget from the chip seal, reseals program, so on and so forth, which is on page 11 of the consultation document, it's just hard to see again, it's similar to the water question. If we're moving budgets around, but we're not adding in budget, because obviously asphalt's four times more expensive, what are we doing less than the other programs of work? So I'm concerned that we're ending up spending a lot more on OPEX, but we're falling behind on the other stuff. So this might be one for after the break, because probably just needs a bit more information.
Aaron?
Yeah, mine was just a follow on from Yanni's, just to clarify on those properties that are derelict or whatever, they're not getting clear land rates, are they? They're paying full, either commercial or residential rates if there's a building there, or is there a trigger at some point where you can go, no, the building's no longer in use and you get clear land rates? Just a clarity on that.
They'll be paying normal rates. Yep, same.
Right, so if there's a crappy old shop that they've had an insurance claim on, so it has no value, there's no chance they're getting clear land rates, they're paying for the full shop.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, just that's good.
Cool. Okay, Mark?
Thank you. I've just been asked a question a day or two ago around the Amy's Awatea Springs intersection and wanting to have confirmation that there's a sufficient budget to keep that moving through this annual plan cycle, so it doesn't grind to a halt. So is there any answer we can have on that one, perhaps?
There we go. Through the chair, we have enough budget on the plan to do our planning, design, and go through the consultation exercise. Following that, we will have a better understanding of the likely cost estimate of the project, and then we'll be looking to the LTP to fund the construction of it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any more questions? Okay, no, there aren't. So what we'll do, can we just bring up 1 to 4 on the recommendations, just so everyone's clear. So these are they're not controversial. It's literally receiving the report and then 3 noting ones. I'm happy to move those. Jake's happy to second them. Does anyone... Well, there's nothing to discuss, so we'll put that to the vote. All in favour, say aye. Against, that's carried. Right, so now we'll suspend standing orders. So again, I'm happy to move that. Jake's happy to second it. All in favour? Against, that's carried. So now, what we'll do is I would quite like... Sam, are you happy if I get amendments flagged?
Yeah, you just need to get Rick's 5 and 6 just on the table.
Oh, right. Yep. Okay, oh yeah, so 5 and 6 on the table. So I'll move them, Jake will second them. This is just to put 5 and 6 on the table. We're not voting on them now, but that'll... So now, so just so everyone's clear, we've got the staff recommendation on the table along with the second one, which is approves and adopts for consultation the draft annual plan. So 5 and 6. So now can we just go around and flag any amendments people have, and then we'll take a break. The team can pull together what they need to, and then we'll come back and work through all that stuff at that point. So can I just go around the table, perhaps? Does it? None from you? Pauline, any?
So no, this is not any wording in the document.
Yeah, this is just amendments to the plan, not the consultation document. Perfect. Aaron? No? Yanni?
Yeah, so I was really keen to get progress on Linwood Park and Winona Park Sportfield lighting upgrades, but I do wonder whether, given what we heard where we're not actually making annual plan decisions on budget priorities for sports fields, that's a separate process. I do wonder if we can get some advice around how we could actually progress it.
So just so I'm clear, what's your amendment?
Well, the amendment was that Linwood Park and Winoni Park be added to the program list of sports field lighting upgrades as part of the sports network plan in FY 26-27. But I'm told that the RSOs are the ones that give the input and then the staff prioritise, not us.
So is it still an amendment or not?
Well, I just wanted to seek some advice from staff. If we wanted to regress those ones, what's the best way?
Oh, it doesn't sound like it can be put, but yeah, but let's have a tour break. But
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The next one.
No, don't worry, because it can't be put. We've got an agreed process for priorities across the city. So I would, on the basis, ruling it out. But let's get some advice over morning tea.
The second one was that the Improving Bromley Roads project budget does not be deferred. So this is just pretty simple. It's a straight budget one. The third one is that the Kiwi Rail Scruttons Road crossing.
Just wait. Just hold up a second, man. So you've got that one. You've got that. Cool. What's your third one, Yanni?
That the Kiwi Rail Scruttons Road crossing budget be reduced by $5 million across all years.
Cool. So you've got that. Great.
The fourth one was that $5 million be put into supporting Weaving the East in FY 26-27 with $2.5 million, and in FY 27-28 with $2.5 million.
Is that, so just so I'm clear, is that to consult on them or just to put into the budget?
No, it's to put a line item in the budget to support that program.
Okay, and where's that money coming from?
I mean, that's up to council, but,
Well,
I've given a
I'm just wondering, I guess the thing is, it's like we kind of agreed on, so is that OPEX or CAPEX?
That would be, well, it would depend what it would go towards.
I'm hearing
really.
OPEX from ELT. Yeah. Right.
Okay. So yeah, it would be OPEX. Yeah.
So can I just so I've got it clear, what would the rating, well, we can come back, but what would the rating implication be of 1%? That's what I'm hearing. Okay. Any other amendments, Yanni?
I did have the council consult on a derelict building land rate, and I'm still puzzled why we did that for the dirty 30, but we can't do it for the residential. But we've heard the advice, so I guess there's another process. So I'll just withdraw that one.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Thanks.
All right, so you're good. So we'll work through those. Thanks, Yanni. That's really useful. Kelly, anything from you? Nothing from you? David? No? Tyler?
Yeah, I'm keen to remove that resolution that I had in regards to the graffiti program. It was asking to consult. I just put it out.
I don't think it's in the Rex as it stands. But we can check. Okay, good to know. We can. But that's
But yeah, I wanted to gain some clarity just quickly before I do that. Was around even if it has a 0.01 impact on rates in terms of the levels of service or materiality, is the council okay with that happening, pushing that through without community consultation?
Not to be sort of flippant about it, but I mean it's a very small amount of money for a BAU graffiti program.
Yeah, I know.
So
but at the moment we're trying to do our best to hold really firm on the rates impact.
Debatable, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's really gaining community permission on.
Let's circle back after the break.
Yeah,
so let's and you can be clear on that at that point. Are you happy? Cool. So you're all good? Celeste. Now these will be cost savings, I know.
They're all cost savings, you'll be pleased to hear. I'm going to save us some money on roads by spending less on OPEX.
Yep.
No, most of mine I'm just getting a bit more advice on. Do you want me to run through them now? Because some of them might not actually work. They're mostly noting provisions to get advice.
Yeah, so all amendments on the table now.
Okay, sure. So the first noting provision is around just noting that North Beach Memorial Hall needs to be looked at as part of the long-term plan. It's a board priority. The building itself needs a bit of capital funding. So it's just getting the advice in time for the draft long-term plan.
Right, okay. Have you got that?
Sorry, we didn't need that.
It might just be that mic. Do you want to just
Sorry?
talk? Yeah.
Here we
I
go.
find pull it down a fraction, it might help.
Like
Yep,
I'm
cool.
on TV. Yep, so that's a noting provision just to get a bit of advice. The next one is...
Okay, sorry, can you just repeat it? They couldn't hear you.
I've emailed them through, so this is just for the table.
And people... Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
They've got to be on the table. So,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I'll read it out then. It notes asset conditions at the North Beach Memorial Hall resolves to come back as part of the draft long-term plan with advice on costs. There's one around the MCR. It's asking for...
Hang on. Oh, sorry, Celeste. What the wording's telling me the
It
wording?
might be easy just to flag them in general and then put the because I've got the specifics through.
Well,
because
they're
some of these-
different. So sorry to be
Yeah.
technical about it, but if there are amendments, they need to be put on the table so that everyone can watch online and see as well. So can you just tell me the wording you want put?
The moment I'm getting staff advice, so the wording was
Well,
going to be finalised during the break. Is that not an option?
No. So
Okay,
if it's an, I mean, you won't, not to be flippant about it, but you won't need advice on a noting provision. So
Okay, sure.
So what's the actual, is the noting provision what you've just said or
Yeah.
what you've emailed?
I've just updated it to make it a noting provision based upon the latest advice from staff.
So is that clear, Sam? No. So can you just circulate to them the one you've just said?
Yep, sure.
Yep, cool.
No problem. Sam, I'm just moving up to 4, if that's okay. So this is around the MCR. So notes opportunities to align stage 3 of the MCR route with other major capital projects, and funding is already on budget for planning in FY 26 and 27 for this work. Request staff as part of the business case to identify and cost options, including at least one high-level transitional rapid delivery option capable of early implementation.
Okay, you've got that. You'll come back and yeah.
And then request staff to report back on options prior to the adoption of the draft annual plan.
What for? For that. So, but we'll need advice on the budget. Did these come? I'm assuming these have been in the system for a week or something.
Yep. Yeah.
No, they haven't.
Through the chair, there's Transport only received some of these at 9 minutes to 9 this morning.
Right. Yeah. So some of them won't be capable of being put just
Sure.
on the lack of advice today.
There's a memo in relation to some of these, so I'm just recapturing some of these. I've just updated them slightly.
Yeah. Was it? Oh, actually, don't worry. Okay, next one.
Sure. So the pages road ancillary works. So that's just notes the estimated cost of the ancillary works and resolves to allocate the 14 million of the non-NZTA works to enable coordinated delivery alongside the main bridge project in the draft LTP. So that's basically just putting the money on budget for.
We're doing an annual plan, aren't we? Yeah.
So that would be a report back, I assume.
Yeah. So we'll come back with some advice if we can today, but if not, or yeah.
Just saying, given that these aren't to be built into the annual plan, some of them you could get advice and they could
Yep.
come to a subsequent council meeting may be the best option.
Yeah,
rather
that's
than
fine.
try to debate them today.
Yeah. Cool.
Final one, notes the removal of funding for streetlight level of service improvements. So that's the capital. Resolves to allocate 200k this financial year for capex upgrades to identified gaps in the citywide network.
So is that a specific project or just in the program?
Basically, we took the money out. We're just putting it back in.
Yeah. So it's so 200 grand to capital.
Yeah.
But not for a tagged project, or is it for a tagged project in your
Well,
area?
potentially looking at projects. So you'd just do it the same with the footpath program, prioritising them across the city.
Yep.
So where there are identified gaps.
Yeah. So it's going to the program, not to a project. Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
So they're all sent through. Yep. Perfect. Thank you, Celeste. That's cool. Tyrone? No. Nathaniel?
Yeah, just the option 1 listed in the staff memo on consulting on community housing and homelessness. So just happy with the wording that was provided by staff. So
is that around the separate survey?
Yeah. Oh no, we included within the annual. So option, I'll just read it, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is from the staff memo. So option 1, consulting in the annual plan, that council could proceed with including a limited number, maximum of 2 questions in the annual plan, and they have provided advice on 2 questions. So the wording that the detailed wording in the memo.
Yep.
I'm happy just without.
So what?
Without
So
change
just
to
so I've got it
include
clear in
that.
my mind, you're saying we'll consult. You want to add that to the consultation for the annual plan, not do the standalone
That's
consultation.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's have that. We'll just note that as an amendment, and we'll get advice after the break because it didn't sound like the most effective way to actually consult.
Yeah,
but
the advice offered 2 options, one of which was using the annual plan with a limited number of questions, or option 2, more detailed research. So my preference and what I'm moving is that we proceed with option 1.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fine. We'll get advice after the break. Okay, Mark.
I'm happy with the answer I got.
You happy? Tim, happy? Mel.
to increase the Strengthening Communities Fund by 3.1% to account for inflation.
So you've got increase the. Cool. So they'll come back with advice on the financial implications of that.
Nothing.
Jake, you're good. Phil.
Just following along from what Yanni said, I tend to agree with him to haul that $5 million out of the Kiwi Rail budget, and God knows where it goes, but I would suggest putting it towards the heritage thing, because correct me if I'm wrong, Scrutton's Road's already rated for, so if we pull it back, it's back in our hands and we can put it into...
It'd be capital, so we'll borrow it, yeah.
Yeah, but it's already rated for there. What I want to do, if possible, is put an amendment up similar along those lines, removing the $20 million from the transfer station at Styx and put it into the Heritage Fund. Right. Because then it's already rated. You can't do that because we've rated for it. I don't want to waste the money spending it there, and it'll be better for the whole city if that 20 million went into, and then we've got some skin in the game. But we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yep.
I was happy to just reduce the Kiwi Rail stuff by 75% if we can, but
okay, so
there's a lot of money there.
Yep. So that's your only one. So we'll get advice back on that after the break. Yanni, did you have one more? Sorry.
My understanding is that we're not able to reduce the quantum that we've had to put on budget for the Kiwi Rail required improvements, but it's significant, and I did ask through the workshops and the process if we could get a decision-making report around doing that. It was advice as part of last year's annual plan, I think, because we weren't able to move amendments. So I just wanted to support in terms of the Mayor reducing those Kiwi Rail budgets. There is a huge amount of money there that we should be looking at, but I just don't know what the process is.
So that's not an amendment today, though, is it? No. Okay, so I think we're pretty much, so all the amendments that are on the table, that's good. We might take a break now, and what we'll do is we'll take the break. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. Really? Can we stop? Can we bicker over the tea break rather than in public? We've been doing so well this morning. So what we're going to do, Timmy, you're nearly ready? Yep. So what we're going to do is take a break now. We're going to get answers to the questions that were asked before. We're then going to get the advice on the amendments. We'll go through them, and I'll be able to indicate whether they're ruled out or ruled in. And at that point, we'll then go through the amendments. And then at that point, I'd quite like to stop, go through the consultation document, and make Joss earn her keep by going through that. And then let's see if we can get to a point where we can largely agree on that today as well. So let's do that. Then we'll wrap it up and vote on the actual annual plan. It depends. So how? 11:15. Do you want 25 minutes? Half an hour. So if we come back at 11:15, yep.